My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. I'm your host, Cassy Summers. Thank you for being here with me. Today, I wanted to get curious with you about an interesting topic. A topic about control, but not necessarily how others control us, because that happens. But more specifically today, I want to look at with you how we control ourselves for others. So what does that even look like? I have a great example that actually just came up in my curious world, and I'm going to share it with you, and maybe we could explore it a bit. So I'm seeing this guy and had brought something up, just kind of a curious question. And this was maybe a month ago, I think. And at the end of him answering the question, he responded kind of a line about not wanting drama. So I want you just to notice right there that there was a seed planted in my world. So I have an awareness now that, one, he doesn't want anything dramatic in his life. And two, that he sees the question that I was being as dramatic. Because here's the thing, everyone has a definition, a different definition for different words. So what my point of view of dramatic is kind of like, the women that are like, or men, banging on the door, like calling nonstop, yelling stuff, kind of creating a telenovela out of your life, to ask someone a question and to be kind of curious about, well, what is this? To me, doesn't match drama. So for him to kind of put that statement in there gives me the information that from his point of view, that's dramatic. Okay, carry on with life, right? But the seed is planted. A month later, again, some kind of question. Can't we just not be dramatic? Oh, okay. This is, to him, this is dramatic. Now, it doesn't match what's dramatic for me at all. It's actually kind of being in the question with someone and exploring something curiously, as you know I like to do, because you're here on the show with me. But now I'm seeing where the seeds are going. So first response is to want to deliver what someone's asking. How many of us have this thing about us, especially when you care about someone, is that you want to deliver what they're asking. So if they're asking you to not do something, or if they're asking you to do something, you want to do that, especially when you're starting a creationship with someone. How much energy are you actually putting in to discover what they desire, what they don't desire, and then looking for ways to deliver it or not deliver it, which could lead to suppression and compression. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's keep exploring. So that immediate response was actually activated an energy of drama. And I went to one of the greatest series of questions that can get you out of any predicament is, what is this? What do I do with it? Can I change it? And if so, how can I change it? Now, these 4 core questions you find in the Access Consciousness materials. Access Consciousness is a set of tools and techniques that can change anything and everything. So explore that more if you're drawn to it. It's an amazing set of tools. So these 4 tools is what I go to, especially in a situation like this. So this energy of like drama comes up. What is this? Oh, this is the energy of drama. Actually, it was an energy came up. What is this? An energy of drama. Okay. What do I do with it? Oh, and it was kind of where my awareness started to go it was matching, because I told you earlier, my point of view is drama, and drama is this. I'll show you. And it was almost like, well, I'll show you what real drama is. It's not asking a question. This is where we get into those reaction pieces. So look at this for you. Maybe in your creationship, your partner, maybe it's with your boss, maybe it's with your parent or a sibling. When that kind of energy comes up right away, you can react to it, or you can get curious. So I got really curious. Okay, so what is this? I'm like perceiving it. Okay, this is the energy of what drama is to me. What do I do with it? I got dissipate it, release it. Can I change it? Yes, by letting it go. If so, how can I change it? By letting it go. So I kind of was just being really present in that moment. How often do we give ourselves a moment of presence to get curious about something? There is a continuous expectation on you to deliver instantly, to not make anyone wait. If you're willing to have that moment of presence with something and get curious, you start to become the creator of your reality rather than being at the effect of everything that's around you. Okay, so then I start to dissipate this energy, and I'm moving it just by being present with it and just by letting it go and acknowledging it. So when it came up and I acknowledged, oh, this is the energy of what drama is to me. Okay. So then once I had cleared that out, my curiosity actually grew. And I started to wonder, what is this with drama? And it pinged. So if he's labeling this as drama, and he's already told me that he doesn't want drama, then what do I have to do to deliver that? Well, you probably have already guessed it. Suppress anything that isn't light, fluffy on the surface. Have to hold back anything that I'm now judging everything I say. Would he see this as dramatic? Because it doesn't match my dramatic, right? Would he see this as that? Would he see this as that? Would he see this as that? This is how we create relationships in this reality. It's so fascinating to me, actually. The interactions and the entrained interactions that we have with each other. And it just takes a moment to slip into that and to align and agree. And I know because I've done it a million times over with a million different people. And I chose not to do that. I was like, okay, so that's his point of view. It doesn't have to be my point of view. We don't have to share a point of view. And I don't have to handle his issue with what he's decided is dramatic. I don't have to figure it out even. What? Imagine that. Imagine you didn't have to figure out what was going on for the other person. Imagine you could just keep exploring being you with the other person, with your partner, It could be married already. It could be with your family. They're so great at using those things so they are using those things to control, right? But again, I don't want to talk about that today. I want to go into where we use those things to control ourselves for others. So have you kind of always known that you're a little bit out of control? Maybe a lot out of control. I mean, just get a sense of you as a child, you as a baby. Did we come in as these controlled creatures? Or did we come in out of control? So how many of these little seeds have been planted in your world over your life to get you to a place where you are controllable? This conversation is to actually get curious about it. And in that curiosity, we can explore what else is possible. We can explore shifting out of that entrainment, not aligning and agreeing with someone's control or resisting and reacting to someone's control, but actually being your space, your reality, and still including others to contribute and being willing to gift as well. So how curious can you be? How curious can you be in these interactions, these conversations, and actually catch them before you go into it? And now I've seen some people, they use force or dominance or confrontation as a way, from their point of view, to not align and agree. So an example could have been making him wrong. I could make him wrong for his choice in words. I can make him wrong for what he's creating or what he's looking to create. I can make him wrong for not having the same point of view about what drama is that I have. And what if that's not freedom either? Coming at someone, trying to break down, like with force, break down their barriers, break down their beliefs, their points of view. Will that create what you're looking for? And maybe it will. Maybe it's fun for you, and that's cool too, because consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. How beautiful is that? But get curious. Would you get curious about this? So in exploring these little seeds, we can broadband the conversation. We can go into a little bit more depth here and look at the technique of gaslighting from space. So you may have just noticed something shift, something open up when you bring up a topic like gaslighting. And if you're not familiar with the topic of gaslighting, it is a control technique. It is a way to lock someone out of their being. Now, not everyone that uses gaslighting has the target to destroy or have total domination over another. A lot of people that use the technique are completely unaware of it. They are behaving based on their own experiences, their childhood, their upbringing, and from the absorption of society all around us. There's not a moment that you go through, if you've interacted with this reality, that you haven't been gaslit. Because the gaslighting will always push you away from what you know. It will create doubt in what you're perceiving and receiving and what you're being. So notice that when you have an interaction, when you have a conversation with someone and you start to have a doubt about your very being, you might want to ask the question, is there gaslighting going on here? Is that what this is? What is this? What do I do with it? Can I change it? If so, how do I change it? Gaslighting is often very subtle, and it comes in these small little ways. And again, the person functioning from or using the technique of gaslighting may not even be aware that they are doing it. And that includes you. There might be times where you've been using gaslighting and been unaware that you've been using it. It's great to actually familiarize yourself with gaslighting. You can go to, there's an article in Psychology Today called The 11 Warning Signs of Gaslighting. It's so valuable to go and actually check that out and get some information, not from a place, again, of that resistance and reaction and you can't control me and I'll show you. But actually, when you can have space and allowance is when you have total freedom. When you're doing force and fight, you are trapped. You have something to fight, which means that there's something that can fight you. There's something that can take you down and you need to fight for it. When you're that space of allowance, that infinite being, nothing can take you down. You don't have to fight for anything or against anything, rather. Okay, so now these seeds of gaslighting, right? I showed you exactly a perfect example of how this could go. So let's follow the story for a moment. Let's do story time. So let's say once upon a time, this girl meets a guy and she is having a great time and they're having really complex, deep, interesting conversations. They are having so much fun with each other and really exploring different possibilities. And then they'll reach a moment of maybe intensity, too much closeness, too much vulnerability. And this guy will push her by planting a seed, by putting this drama thing in her world. So what is that seed for? And does she have to accept that seed? Or can she have allowance for it? She can have allowance for it. So the story goes on. A while later, now that the seed's already been planted, the seed is then watered by another comment about the drama, watering the seed. As closeness develops, as caring grows for one another, we know that these two people want to deliver what the other person is asking for. This is an innate, rather than innate, my curiosity just sparked, is it actually an innate way that we be to deliver what people are asking for? Or is it actually an entrained thing? There we go. To deliver what people are asking for, like we train our dog. Or you get a new dog, it's a puppy. Does it innately sit, roll over, behave, or do you train it? You train it with treats and punishment. So have you ever recognized that you've been trained with treats and punishment? And you probably do it yourself. Now we go back to the allowance piece. Allowance is everything is just an interesting point of view. It's where you eliminate judgment from your world. You eliminate it utterly. There's nothing right or wrong about it, but you apply the curiosity to all these situations that will gain you so much more awareness and capacity to maneuver, to play, to outcreate in every situation. So let's go back to this couple, this budding, new, exciting couple, and the seed that's been watered. So now she can fight that. She can accept it and let that seed take root. Or she can go to the space of allowance and let go of that seed. No alignment agreement, no resistance to reaction. It's just an interesting point of view. It's not her point of view. It's his point of view. And he can have all the points of view he'd like to have. What if that's caring? Interesting, huh? So where will the story go? Where will the boy and the girl land? I don't know. And there's no real answer here in this exploration today. I invite you, yes, you, invite you to explore this for yourself. How quickly have seeds been planted in you? How many now blossomed trees, trees of life, trees of death, are you bouncing off of continuously as you interact with people? Wow. This isn't just in romantic relationships. Let's take the workplace, for example, where just easily your employer, your coworker could say something, say you're behaving a certain way. And when I say behaving, I don't mean you have behavior issues. I don't mean that you have a behavior thing going on, but maybe you're just kind of being you. Maybe you're just enjoying your work or delivering what you think is being asked of you. And as you deliver it, they share with you something that in the future they don't want blank. Okay. Okay, awesome. So then what do you do? Well, you want to deliver a good product. You want to be a good employee. So you work towards not doing what you did before. Now, this doesn't mean if you're handing in documents and there's spelling mistakes all over it and they're asking you not to have spelling mistakes, that's a whole different thing. But what if it's the way you dress? What if it's, and again, not from this is kind of the code we have in our work, but you will start to notice the more you get curious and explore the gaslighting, you'll notice when it's just a little off. It's just a little over here. So the way you dress could be, hey, we have, this is our code. This is how we dress. We're doing, business casual attire, giving you the information. That's just information. And I'm going to give you a little bit of gaslighting. You ready? we don't normally have people dress as sexual as you do in the workplace. So if you could be more to the up to code for us, we would really appreciate that. Do you see the difference? Do you see it? Now, some of us, we don't want to see it. We don't actually want to get curious about it. That might be true for you. This might have been the least enjoyable podcast you've ever listened to, but you're still here. So that tells me, if you're still here listening, that there is something here for you to explore, for you to let go of, for you to heal, for you to become aware of. So now, instead of having the information that business casual is the clothing, is the dress code for your workplace, you have this seed of sexualized dressing, like dressing your body overly sexualized. So now there will be this continuous judgment pattern activated in your world. So even something business casual, you'll be like, well, wait, is this too sexy? Is it high enough? Is it loose enough? Is it this? Is it that? Is it that? And this is where you become the ultimate controller of yourself for other people. Now, the difference is if it was just a dress code, you'd be like, cool, business casual. What is that to me? What would be fun to wear for business casual? Here's my clothes. I'm going to get dressed. Do you notice the difference? How much are you controlling you for other people? And it can be even more subtle than that. It can be a look. It can be, oh, I know what my mom's thinking, because maybe you've had conversations when you were 16 with her, and that's when the seeds were planted. And by the way, other people can bounce off seeds that other people planted. Yep. So now you're in a forest, right? What do? What do you do in this forest? How do you get out of controlling yourself for others? And how do you do it without force, without fight, without pushing everyone away, without making them wrong or making you wrong? What if it's actually truly possible? Would you get curious about that for yourself? Because it will be different for everyone what that is like. But one amazing tool I can give you is the interesting point of view tool. That space of allowance. So you can look at these big, giant trees that have grown in your world, and you can say goodbye. You can let it go. You can clear it out. You know what? I don't need you anymore. I'm not going to judge myself in this way anymore. I'm not going to look in the mirror and make sure that my makeup is appropriate to how my mom told me it was supposed to be, or what my partner told me it was supposed to be. I'm not going to dress accordingly to anyone else. I'm not going to make sure I don't laugh too loud. I'm not going to apologize for being. What if you didn't apologize for being? What if you didn't apologize for being? What if you got to be you with space, without fighting? And again, if you're fighting against something, you're not free. You're not free to be you. When you have total allowance, you can just go, interesting point of view. Interesting point of view, someone's going to have a problem with the way I'm dressed today. Interesting point of view, someone's not going to like what I have to say. Interesting point of view, I'm going to be too happy for someone. I'm going to be too miserable for someone. I'm going to have too much money, too much things, too much whatever for someone. Okay. Well, that's just an interesting point of view. And it's not relevant to you. I can hear your head. What do you mean it's not relevant if your partner's calling you dramatic? What do you mean that's not relevant if your boss is saying, that you're too provocative? It's only relevant in a moment of information to know where someone else is functioning. It's not relevant for you to hold that to you and use that as a way to control you for them. Unless you really like it. And if you do, keep on doing it. Keep on. But for me, I've been looking at truly getting to a space of out of control for myself. Truly and dynamically being so out of control. My underlying point of view used to be that if I didn't control myself, then I would, hurt everyone I loved. I would probably end up on the street with no money. I would probably, name every bad thing that you can think of. So I had to control myself to not go down that path. It was as though I was the water that was rushing down that path, and that I had to control it into another direction. But that's not true. It took me a while to really acknowledge that, and you don't have to take as long as I did. What if when you're truly being you, like the space of you, when you're choosing from what you know, what you perceive, what you receive, and what you be, what if where you as water is actually going is to greater spaces of consciousness and greater spaces of an expansion of living? Again, I just want to note, did you perceive the energy just change there? You see, I love energy. I love how energy is so perceivable and malleable and magical. And I would love to show you more as we explore through these curious universes to actually highlight some of those change points to get you more curious about what you perceive with energy. So this, where does the water go? So you, from this infinite knowing, being, perceiving, and receiving, all the underlining points of view that you have. When I say underlining points of view, it's like I'm kind of a visual person. So I'll see this current. So like I'll be here and it seems like I'm still, or maybe I'm moving forward, but there's always this current flowing underneath. It's this underlining point of view. And it will go with me everywhere I go. So if the underlining point of view is that I am headed for disaster, then I have to control myself. And I have to control myself for everyone and for myself. But if my underlining point of view, or rather my awareness, shows me that my commitment to expanding consciousness, my commitment to myself, to my living, to being here, actually matches an ever-expanding space. So I'm actually not headed for disaster. So for what reason am I controlling myself as though I am? Because if I align and agree that I am, then I have to create that flow so that I can have something to control. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that the very thing that we would like to change is the thing that we're holding in existence because it holds something else in existence? So the underlying point of view that I'm headed to disaster holds in place the need to control myself. But if I had no underlying point of view that I was headed to disaster, I'd have no need to control myself. But if I also had no need to control myself, I wouldn't need to have the underlying point of view that supports the lie that I need to control myself. Do not feel as though you need to cognitize everything that I am inviting you to. This space of universe and possibility is not about cognition. It's about exploration. So how do you change that? Well, you can get rid of the underlying point of view. How do you get rid of an underlying point of view? You maybe had this point of view for your whole life. Since you were started to walk and your parents just were like, they're out of control. They're knocking everything over. They're running out the door. They're running into traffic. We need to control them. They're headed towards disaster. Okay. So everything is energy. Everything is energy, which means everything is changeable. If we create something as solid, like bedrock solid, then it's not easily changeable. But if you acknowledge that everything is space, including every point of view that you have in your world, it's just energy and you can alter it. And one amazing tool that you can use, this is again a tool from Access Consciousness. My favorite toolbox is interesting point of view. I have that point of view. So interesting point of view, I have the point of view that I'm headed towards disaster. Interesting point of view, I have the point of view that I'm headed towards disaster. Interesting point of view, I have that point of view that I'm headed towards disaster. What that's doing is actually breaking up the charge. It's breaking up the energy. And now tap in. What is true? Beyond any point of view, but from knowing, true perceiving, receiving, and being. It's a choice. You could choose to head towards disaster, but you're not going towards disaster. You can choose to head towards expansion, consciousness, ease, joy, and glory. It's all just a choice. So what if your choice is going to create where you're headed? And what are you choosing? Get curious about that. Cool. So now as we explore a little further here, the need for control. You may be so used to it. You may be so used to controlling yourself for others. I think of kids in classrooms that have all this energy and they're just wiggly, and how many kids were told to sit down, cross your legs, sit on your hands if you need to. You need to stop fidgeting, quit bouncing around. Can't you just be calm? Can't you just tone it down? Control your body, control the energy, control yourself for all of us, because we can't pay attention because of you. We can't pay attention. We can't focus. We can't get done what we need to do because of you. So you need to control that. Fast forward years later, you see someone's body that has little to no energy in it. When did they start controlling and not allowing energy to flow freely, infinitely, gloriously through every cell of their body and every molecule of their being? They've been controlling themselves for others through a lifetime. How amazing would it be to see someone in their 80s that has so much energy through their body that they can't sit still, that they're exuberant, that they want to move around and play and run and dance? Where are you controlling you for others? Don't laugh too loud. Don't say the wrong thing. Filter what you say. Where are you controlling you for others? And where have you made it a need? So here's the difference between a choice and a need. Need is based on survival. You need something to survive. So if you've created something as a need, you don't want to let it go because you need it for survival. To choose something is totally different. You can choose when you're in a quiet space and everyone's really zen and they're like being with themselves. You can choose to not be loud. It's just a choice. There's that space, we talked about it, that space to it. If you have a need not to be loud, do you sense the difference in those two things? The need to not be too loud, to not be too much. Then you have to control you. You have to actually fight you when you could have just chosen not to. No fight required. So what if you let both threads go today? Pick at least one thing and just let both go. Let go of the underlying point of view that if you don't control you, then this will happen. So as I talked about, headed towards disaster, or you'll offend everyone or whatever is that point of view that you were probably imposed, that was probably imposed upon you. And then let go of the other thing holding in place, which is the need to control you for others. Wow. Cool. And now I sense the energy changing, a possibility to let go today of something. And you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to cognitize how you're going to do that. It's just a choice. I'm going to let this go today. You might pick it back up. You may never pick it back up. You don't have to pick it back up, but you can choose to because you have infinite choice. Thank you for exploring with me today on this episode of the Curious Universe podcast. Thank you for exploring the Curious Universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious